this is, gee, you are so good. And you really get the juices flowing. You really do. I think there's a mic back there. Oh, great. Okay, Bob, you already have it. Please tell us something about yourself and how long have you been doing this? A few years?
And how long has this been going on?
Yeah.
Uh, well, I've been doing this all my life so far. I've been playing since I was a little kid, but I taught music.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was in middle school for
Where?
35 years. Most of it in Rivervale, New Jersey,
Oh,
in Bergen County.
oh.
And so, besides that, I've done a lot of other things. I've done a lot of work with singers, and
Who were some of the people, who were some of the bands that you've worked with?
some of the bands. Well, going way back, I did some things with Xavier Cugat,
Oh my gosh.
and
Stan Kenton,
no,
Gerald Wilson.
I did some things with the Tommy Dorsey, but not when Tommy was there. It's when Warren Covington had the band. And currently, I do some things with the Harry James Orchestra. And I work with, as I say, singers. I've worked with Michelle Hendricks, and she was great. She's absolutely terrific. And I'm also occasionally, I still do some things with the Four Aces.
Oh my gosh. That's
So,
great.
Yeah,
Well,
I keep
I
busy.
love your keyboard sound. It's
Oh,
really
thank you.
nice. It's really nice. It's in fact somebody was saying it sounds like the way you play it. It sounds like an actual grand piano.
Well,
It's the sound that you get from it.
okay, sort of.
Listen, don't
it's not
knock
like
it
my
if it's, if the sound comes through,
Yeah.
enjoy it.
no, it's not like my Steinway B, but it'll
No, well, next time bring that.
it works. Yeah. Okay.
That's a delight. Well, I'd like very much to talk to Ron. If you
Okay.
just give him the mic. Ron, tell us something. Are you a New Yorker, or is New York your home, or the
No,
West Coast?
I live in New Jersey,
Uh-huh.
but over the years I've worked in New York here and there. So sort of professionally, I'm a New Yorker, you might say.
And do you have you done work with your own group, or have you always worked with larger bands? Or
Different groups, yeah. Right now, I'm you might call a freelance player because I play with this
you're
group,
an
with that group.
entrepreneur, a musical entrepreneur.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, many of which we have here on the show. So, sometimes they have day jobs, but they certainly get to play with groups and in clubs, the few that are left here in New York.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're keeping it alive.
Oh, yeah.
because I haven't heard, as I've had classical musicians on the show who said that classical music is dead. I've never heard that from a swing or jazz band. So,
Well, I don't believe that classical music is
oh,
dead.
I don't either. I
That's-
don't either.
the
And certainly,
level
but I get a feeling of really good swing dance music from this group. So I'm
good.
so glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And if you'll just please give it to Rudy, the mic, then I'd like to hear something about. I like your drum set.
Yes, I actually was born in Vancouver, Canada.
You were
I was born in Canada, yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I've
and
been here
how
for a
long
long
have you been
time.
here?
I've been here since like 85.
What drew you to?
Well, New York is still like the jazz capital of the world, as they always
This is
said
true.
before. Yep.
This is true.
And-
California was trying to make that claim.
No,
but
it's always been New York, and it always will be. It's like if you were an impressionist painter, you had to go to Paris in the late 1800s. New York's been that way for a long time.
yeah.
and there's
Now,
still
did you
people-
study here in New York or in
Mostly
Canada?
just I took a few lessons with people, but mostly just gigging around New York. You know, I've been a sideman most of my life. I worked with Brother Jack McDuff for a long time, the organist. I was on the road with him a bunch. And then I went to another spectrum of jazz, and I was in the Glenn Miller Band on the road with them for a while. And recently I was working with Buddy Moore on the Tommy Dorsey Band,
Oh,
and also worked a lot with Fathead Newman. And actually, just Monday night, I was working with a very good organist at Dizzy's, Kiko Tsuruga, who has a quintet. We just had a CD release
that's a
party.
great place.
Yeah, it is
And
really
it's
nice. Yeah.
just a wonderful place to have the opportunity
Yep.
to play.
So I've got a place in Brooklyn, and I got my family out in the Poconos. I go back and forth. I got about
Oh,
a 2-hour
okay.
commute.
Okay.
But it's nice to get
that's-
out of the city. It's nice to come back in, too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Though, like you said, New York is where it's going on,
Yep.
for sure. And Phil, please tell us something about yourself.
I'm the resident Southerner. I'm from Tennessee. And I wound up here because somebody told me that I needed somebody to come up here and straighten all the Yankees out in music.
Thank goodness for your arrival.
I was a staff trombonist for RCA Records in Nashville for 17 years.
Wow.
Trombonist and conductor during that time with Danny Davis and the Nashville Brass. And I also did a few things with Boots Randolph. And as Jimmy gets all interested, because I told him I used to pass Dolly Parton in the hall at RCA. So he wanted to know all about that. And I did a couple of short tours with Frank Sinatra.
Did you really?
Yes,
That
I
must
did.
have been
I played a number of times with the Bob Crosby and the Bobcats Big Band, and with the Bob Crosby and the Bobcats Dixieland unit.
well, it comes
lots of
through
stuff.
where all of you are concerned that you have played with big bands. I mean, because it's a different sound than from a trio or, a quintet or something. It just
Playing in the big band is being an ensemble, so you have 12 to 15 people all performing together, and the idea is that when it works right, there's just kind of one big mind there
oh yeah,
swinging.
it comes
you know.
it comes through. It
And
absolutely comes
Here
through.
we get to be a little bit more individual.
Yeah. Well, Mike, please, if you go
I guess
right ahead,
I'm
tell
one
us.
of the maybe the few native New Yorkers. Yeah, born in the Bronx. So I lived most of my life in the New York metropolitan area, and went on to music conservatory, New England Conservatory in Boston.
So
and
you were classically trained.
both classical and jazz. So I made a point of learning a wide spectrum of music, and that, to me, was a great plus. And since graduating, I was spent time in Nashville, Los Angeles, went on the road, and started working full time, and then relocating back to New York and got established here, and started playing with some of the top big bands that you mentioned. One of them was, which I still work with, Toshiko Akiyoshi Jazz Orchestra with Lutza Bakken for many years. Slide Hampton and the Jazz Masters, and also Paquito de Rivera and the United Nation Orchestra.
Oh, this is great. This is great. You all have such an absolutely fascinating background, and it comes through in the music that you play. I am just thrilled that you're here. And Jim, let's come back to you. What are the plans for the band? You have some dates coming up and some things that you're going to do.
Well,
And you have a
one thing I want to
CD?
mention. One thing I want to mention is that I have my own radio show.
Oh,
And,
yes. Tell us about
and
that.
I broadcast every Monday from 5 to 6 on Mulberry Street, NYC, of course. And that's and Berto's, it's the name of the place. And it's a remote, and it's broadcast over to over 40 nations and 350 cities, and it's strictly jazz with no apologies. I mean, it's my jazz swing hour, and of course we play our new CDs, and I do a lot of
Now,
things.
you actually did your CD from a live performance?
No, this was recorded in the studio. This was recorded in the studio. So anyway, next week I'm going to do something. And personally, it's very special. I'm going to do a tribute to the great. We're going to play tracks from the great Boyd Rayburn Band, who was the first modern jazz orchestra. As a matter of fact, Dizzy Gillespie wrote "Night in Tunisia" for Boyd Rayburn first. It was
Wow.
called Interlude back then. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So anyway, with my radio show, it's getting a lot of publicity. It's getting very good response, and we're going to do as much as we can with it. You know what I mean, as far as our promotional
this is-
efforts, and as far as the bands, as I say, I do have some plans. I do have some things some
Well, you
some
have to make
engagements
sure.
I'm working on.
You have to make sure you keep in touch so that
Oh, sure,
I can
sure.
let our viewers know what's going on with you. And I mean, I really thank you so much for being here. It has just been, you have no idea what a thrill and delight it is for me to sit here and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful music. And it's just a tremendous sound. And believe it or not, we're closing in on the end of the show. So what I'd like to do, I want to thank you for being here. And I'd also like to thank Ed, our director, and our caterer. And thank you to Blade, who's in the control room, and he did some camera work. And we have Maria, who has always helped. And in fact, she introduced us. Maria Giorgio. We really appreciate that. And of course, a very, very special thanks to Rich of Manhattan Neighborhood Network for making this show possible. You've been watching Mind Your Business, the show for entrepreneurs. I'm your host, June Middleton, and see yourself where you want to be. And in the time that we have left, please close the show for us. What are you going to play?
Okay, we're going to continue with our salute to the TV show themes.
Great, I love it.
That has been well received by our audiences, and this is entitled "Theme from Spider-Man."
Ah,
There we go.